Losing your belly fat isn't as simple as cutting out carbs or eating more protein. The truth is, all three macronutrients play an important role when it comes to fat loss and your overall health. Today, I'm going to reveal the perfect macros for you to burn your belly fat and show you how to calculate your exact macros step by step. So full screen the video and let's log in. Before we get into the numbers, let's get one thing clear. Your macros are not the most important thing when it comes to burning your belly fat. The most important thing, the thing that moves the needle and actually makes fat loss happen, is being in a calorie deficit. Because if you're not eating fewer calories than you burn, it doesn't matter what your macros look like. You could eat 100% protein, 100% carbs, or 100% fat. If your calories are too high, your belly ain't going anywhere. So if you don't already know your calorie deficit, just pause the video quickly, click the link in the description underneath this video and use my free fat loss calorie calculator. I'll send you your results within 30 seconds and you'll know exactly how many calories you should be aiming for. Okay, now that you've got that, let's talk macros. Because how you split your protein, your carbs, and your fat is going to control your energy levels, your hormones, and ultimately how you look and feel. Because let's be honest for a second, you don't just want to lose weight. You want to look like you actually lift. You want to feel strong, energetic, and confident. And that is exactly what the right macros give you. Let me explain it this way. Two guys can both eat 2,000 calories a day. One eats all his calories from donuts, the other eats lean meats, veggies, healthy fats, and whole carbs like rice and potato. Same calories, but completely different hunger levels, energy, cravings, and body composition. So the quantity of your calories affects how much fat you lose, but the quality of your calories massively affects how sustainable your fat loss is. You can technically lose weight eating nothing but processed and junk food, but you'll be starving, miserable, and way more likely to binge. So calories decide if you lose weight, macros and food quality decide how you feel on the journey and what you're ultimately going to look like. So what split do I actually recommend for most men who are trying to burn belly fat? Well, it's 30% protein, 30% fat, and 40% carbs. Let me break down why. Protein is your best friend for fat loss. It keeps you full, it protects your muscles when you're in a calorie deficit, and it actually costs your body more energy to digest it, which means you burn more calories when you eat a high protein diet. And let's be real, like I said earlier, you don't just want to lose weight and end up looking skinny fat. You want muscle definition. You want your t-shirts to fit tight around your arms. And that is why protein has to stay high. Next, we got fat. A lot of men think that fat is the enemy, and honestly, I don't blame them. It is a terrible name for a macronutrient, but ultimately it isn't. Your body needs fat for a lot of things. It helps produce hormones like testosterone. It keeps your joints healthy. It helps your brain function properly, and it makes your meals taste better. And what ends up happening when you cut your fat too low is you end up tanking your testosterone. And when that happens, you feel tired and lethargic and moody, and most of all, your libido goes through the floor. We are not about that life, lads, because testosterone is the hormone that gives us guys our drive. And drive is exactly what we need to get up, to get out, and don't go man things. And then finally, we come to carbs. And just like fat, carbs get demonized all over the fitness industry. But once again, they ain't the enemy, guys. Carbs fuel your workouts, keep your energy in check, keep your cravings at bay, and keep your mood stable. Sure, if you're sitting on the couch all day, then smashing the carbs ain't the best idea. But if you're training hard or even just walking a lot, carbs are going to be the thing that fuel your body. Cut them too low and you'll feel like death. Sure, you might lose a few pounds in the first couple of weeks, but you'll quickly realize that that isn't fat. It's just water weight. You see, all the water that you drink has the ability to bond with something called glycogen. Glycogen is the stored form of glucose. Glucose is essentially what carbs are. It's a type of sugar. So when you stop eating the carbohydrates, your body starts burning through that glycogen, the stored glucose. Once it's burned through all of that, your water has nothing to hold on to. So rather than losing 5 or 10 pounds of fat, what's actually happened is you've probably lost 1, maybe 2 pounds of fat and 8 pounds of water. That's not to say it can't give you a bit of a kickstart and some momentum, but it isn't a long-term sustainable strategy. We want to be using our carbs for energy so that we can get up, get out, smash the gym, and get our steps in. And let's be honest, even when you cut carbs for a few weeks, most people just end up binging them 3 weeks later. The truth is, any extreme diet isn't going to work in the long term. They always sound sexy because they promise fast results. Cut out all carbs, go full keto, eat nothing but chicken, rice, and broccoli. But here's what happens every single time. And I know this from having coached hundreds of guys. You lose some weight quickly. You feel amazing for a few weeks. Life gets busy. Social occasions pick up. You can't stick with it anymore. You binge, you gain the weight back, you feel awful, and you quit. Give it another month, and the cycle starts again. And this is what keeps so many guys in this binge restrict cycle and on the hamster wheel of diets. The diet industry is a multi-billion dollar, maybe even trillion dollar industry because of the way that they market it to you. But one of the best things that you can do is change your expectations. I heard an amazing quote the other day that I'm going to tell you now, which directly relates to this. Billionaires think in decades, boys think in days. Now you might be thinking, what's that got to do with your fitness when it's to talking about finance? But how you do anything is how you do everything, right? So what is going to dictate your success in the long term, as well as being on the right macronutrients, is having the right mindset, is thinking long term, not thinking, how quickly can I lose the next 10 or 20 pounds? And if you want another way of framing this, just think about how long it took you to put on the weight, because I know for a fact it didn't happen in a couple of weeks. But the good news is, with the right plan and on the right macros, you can lose it in a tenth of the time. So if it took you 10 years, it's probably going to take you 1. And ultimately, fat loss isn't meant to feel like a punishment. It has to fit into your life if you want it to work long term. And that's exactly why I love this 30-30-40 split. It's balanced. It lets you eat a variety of foods. And most important of all, it's easy to stick to. So how do you go about figuring out your own macros? Well, let's do an example together. Let's say you weigh 200 pounds and you want to lose fat. Very roughly speaking, a sustainable calorie deficit target is going to be about 2,400 calories. 30% of 2,400 calories means you're getting 720 calories from protein. Then you want to divide that by 4 because protein has 4 calories per gram, which comes out to 180 grams of protein. You want to start with the same sum for fat. So 30% of 2,400 is going to equal 720 calories from fat. But this time you want to divide it by 9, not by 4, because fat has 9 calories per gram. So 720 divided by 9 equals 80 grams of fat. And then last but least, for our carbs, we're going to do 40% of 2,400, which means you're getting 960 calories from carbs. Just like protein, you divide it by 4 because carbs has 4 calories per gram, which also is further proof that carbs are not fattening, which equals 240 grams of carbs. So for a 200-pound guy aiming to lose belly fat, that's 180 grams of protein, 80 grams of fat, and 240 grams of carbs. And that is how you figure out your macros. But you don't have to be perfect with this plan. If trying to figure out your macros feels like a bit of a headache, then just focus on your calories and your protein at first. And I appreciate that 180 grams of protein might sound like a lot, but here's an easy example of what that might look like. You could have 3 eggs and a little bit of turkey bacon for breakfast, which would add up to about 30 grams of protein. 6-ounce chicken breast at lunch would probably add another 40. An afternoon protein shake would give you another 30. Then an 8-ounce salmon fillet for dinner would give you 50. And a protein bar for dessert would take your total to about 180. It's not fancy, but it works. Fill the rest with good carbs like rice and potatoes and fruit and veg, and fats like butter and avocado and even some dark chocolate. And remember, quality matters. 4 donuts and a steak might hit the same calories, but they'll feel completely different in your body. A very good way to gauge this is that the fewer ingredients on your food package, the better. Good quality food keeps your body working the way it should do. It keeps your cravings low and it keeps you feeling full. And ultimately, that combination is what makes fat loss sustainable and easy. So here's the bottom line. Calories create fat loss, whereas macros shape how you look, how you feel, and how you perform while you're losing the fat. And if you want to burn your belly fat and keep it off without feeling like you're having to starve your body, 30% protein, 30% fat, and 40% carb is a damn good place to start. But like I said, don't get overwhelmed by this maths. Start where you are and build from it every week. All you have to do is try to improve one step at a time. And remember, fat loss doesn't have to be extreme or complicated. It's about learning as you go and being consistent over time. Because at the end of the day, you're not trying to create a diet, you're trying to create a lifestyle. Eat real food, move more, lift some weights, and sleep well. If you do that, you'll struggle to go wrong. Resistance training signals your body to keep hold of the muscle whilst you're burning the fat. And the more muscle you have, the easier it is to stay lean. Sleep is when your muscles grow, but it's also when your hormones reset, and it's what keeps your cravings under control. So when you combine the right macros with lifting weights a few times a week and good night's sleeps, you'll not only be consistently lighter on the scales every single week, but you'll actually feel better for it too. But listen, I appreciate we did a bit of a deep dive today and we went through quite a lot. So if you feel like you're stuck and you're spinning your wheels, or if you just want me to help you figure all this out personally, then feel free to click the second link under the video to check out exactly how my coaching program works. Or you can keep learning and watch this video next. Either way, I really hope the video helped, and I'll see you next time.